Hi there. Welcome to the Kessler Law Firm podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kessler, and I've been a criminal defense attorney here on Florida's Treasure Coast and surrounding areas for nearly 40 years. On today's episode, I want to continue a conversation about one of my more recent cases, following it every step of the way, now focusing on the long road to court, including discovery, depositions, and docket calls, a process that took the better part of 3 years. As I've told you before, and I'm sure you've noticed, my client is a very nice lady, and she never should have been charged. As with the previous episodes, I'm going to let our client, Kirsten Nance, tell you all about it from her point of view. Today, she's going to talk about her experiences after posting bond and getting released from jail, waiting what seemed like forever to get her car back from the police, and just waiting and waiting and waiting until finally getting her day in court, her trial. This is the next part of her story.
Then it was okay. Here's the charge. Even Michael was like, "I'm surprised they charged you, but we knew they could have." So, um, here we go. So now we're gonna prepare for trial, and this is what can happen. This is if you got charged, a minimum of this, a maximum of that. You know, I didn't understand. Michael explained like under the law they need to prove you knew or should have known you hit a person. See, like I had no idea because if you read the charge is leaving the scene of an accident slash fatality. So I didn't understand under that law. I think, okay, that's what you're charged with. So I didn't understand in a courtroom it's very different. So moving forward, then it was meetings, um, waiting for discovery, Michael getting all the discovery, forwarding it to me, talking to me about the discovery, what that means, what they have, what they don't have. Um, wow, just a lot. It was a lot to absorb, but I'll tell you, any question I had, it did not matter what time of the day. If Michael couldn't answer it, his staff answered it. If his staff couldn't answer it, they got Michael to answer it. And I would always say, "I'm so sorry I'm bothering you guys," and whether it was the staff or Michael, "You're never bothering me. No question is," because you don't know, right? It's your first time, you don't know. So you're asking all these questions because you're scared. Like you've never been in a situation like this before. My pretrial court experience, the first year, like the first year, I didn't have to appear in court. It was Judge Levin. So Michael and his team made it amazing. I would sign an addendum, I think, or a waiver or something that I did not have to appear in court, and Michael would go on my behalf. And then when we switched judges to Judge Lynn, it was mandatory. So it was either Tuesday, sometimes it was Thursdays, but it was like a Tuesday you would go, and that particularly was a lot because you'd be like number 30 something, which people don't realize that's like 2.5 hours that you're sitting in a docket. And I didn't know this. I thought when Mike went to docket, it's just for my case. Like, you don't know. For a year, I never knew. So when I finally went to a docket and realized it's a ton of people there, and then there's also inmates that are waiting, so you sit the whole time, and then Michael's great, and when it's time you walk up and they move it to the next docket. I will say that's frustrating, um, and that's not on Michael. That's just they have cases that are from 2018, so way before even me. So you can't be too upset with the process because there's other people that have been waiting way longer than you. So I actually really got to understand a lot sitting in those dockets. So the pre-trial with Kessler was great. Any kind of motion for discovery, he did that, and we got discovery because the prosecutor held on to that for a long time. So Michael's like, okay, we're going to be nice for so long and ask nicely for so long. and then we're gonna file because now we need it. My car, they would have kept my car forever. Michael was great about filing for that as well, 18 months after to finally give her car back, which at that point it didn't even matter because my car was totaled. And then going into it every time we went to the next docket, we waited one time because we didn't know, like, okay, maybe a prosecutor would change, not change, and if it did change, then maybe it would be different if they really looked at the case. Because we thought, like, the whole time, like, okay, you can't really be looking at the case, because if you're looking at what we're looking at, why are we still trying this? But so finally, Michael and I discussed the speedy trial, and that's that. Perfect. Michael and I would talk. He would call me in, and he would say, there is such a thing. Of course, again, law for idiots that don't know. There is such a thing as to file for a speedy trial. And I was like, I did not know that. And he went in to explain what that means, how much time they have once you file that. All I didn't know. He said, you could file that. It could be early as next week. It could be early as they have an X amount of window to do that. And if they don't, then they have to dismiss the case. So he explained how that would work. So it made me a little nervous because I was like, wow, you mean if we file, it could be? And he's like, yeah, it could be. But the more I thought about it, I said, this black cloud that's hanging over your head for as long as it has been, and you're really not living life, you're going through the motions, it's like, well, let's do it, because I want this done either way. I think you're ready in the sense that you just want it to be done. I think that when you carry something as long as that in your day-to-day and waking up every day going, when is this going to end? It's not living, People be like, oh, you're not in jail. You have the naysayer, you're not in jail. Well, it's purgatory, let me tell you. It's not living. So, was I ready? Yeah, I was ready for myself, for it to be over either way that went. But for the people I love, I wasn't ready, because you just don't know, right? It can go either way. So for my kids, I wasn't ready. For me, I was ready. Michael, rock star. His team, rock star. They've been ready. For 3 years, they've been ready. I could not have gone to trial. Michael prepared me at trials really hard. And through the whole time, I really never wanted to go to trial. And I told Michael that. I was like, I really don't want to go to trial. It scares me. I'd much rather have taken a deal, but then the more I thought about that, which first of all, we didn't even really get a deal. But when I thought about that, like, innocent people don't plea, right? And I would have had a felony on my record the rest of my life. So I was confident within my lawyer and his team, and my lawyer's never felt more confident about any case in his career. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to let Michael do his thing. So again, under the law, once we found I was charged with leaving the scene of a crime / fatality. Of course, because none of the discovery and everything showed I was not driving recklessly, so they could not charge me with the other charge. So the sentence on that, if you're convicted, is a minimum of 4 years, a maximum of 30 years in jail. The only, if you even want to call this a plea, that came out was Jonathan Libby said, because Michael kept trying to talk to him, like, listen, like, look at the evidence, this is also a suicide case, like, come on, like, let's work out something here, kind of, because
I didn't want to go to trial. Of course, you're scared to death. I don't want to go to trial. I don't want to have jurors. I don't want to do any of that. I don't even want to be in this situation. So Libby's deal, which is not a deal, was basically that I could not go to trial and take 5 years. And Michael basically was like, no, we'll see you in court. Not happening. So that's, if you want to call that a deal, that's what was offered to me. That's not a deal. And at that point, if I took a deal, first of all, innocent people shouldn't plea and take a deal. If I would have taken a deal, even if it was probation, a year probation, I would have on my record the rest of my life that I'm a felon. Okay, I have a felony on my record. That is something I should not have to have on my record when, again, I was driving below the speed limit, doing everything I needed to do as a responsible driver that night. And this freak thing happened to me. And again, like I said, I'm put in a situation now. So I'm at this point, we're gonna fight for my name, we're gonna fight for my innocence, and we're gonna go to trial.
We'll conclude her story in our next episode as her trial finally proceeds. Thank you for joining us today on the Kessler Law Firm podcast. Whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on your favorite podcasting site, please click subscribe or follow. So next time you come back, our latest podcasts will be ready and waiting for you. In the meantime, if you'd like to connect and find out more about us, check out our website at www.kesslerlawfirm.com. And we'll see you at the Verdict Factory.